Hello and welcome back to Nightcall. We are now going to learn about why this farmer man who gave us a shifty eye at the start is not racist. Despite, I suppose he hasn't really done anything racist, has he? He has just attended a show for farmers where they make fun of them, basically, from those exploitive reality show bollocks. Don't believe the show. I didn't mean what I said. I didn't really say that stuff either. They always do that. He nods. Yeah, well, media, they distort everything, they change things. Things are more, more... You're searching for the right word, it's no use. His hands are shaking. Yeah, well... He fixes his gaze on you, visibly moved. I'm not very good at this. I've been... He chokes up, gesturing with the hands as if to make it all disappear. When he starts up again, he's on the verge of tears. Anyhow, I'll just wait here until it opens. The passenger pays his fare and exits the cab. You watch him for a minute as he starts his vigil in front of the gates. You notice the newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind, or the one before. You grab it and put it away. It would come in handy. Then you start the cab. It's back to the grind. 48, that ain't bad. The door suddenly opens and a woman gets into the back seat. Here we go. Having a good night? There she is. For a second you freeze. It's one of the cops working on the judge's case. She grins at you. Her voice creaks. You remember seeing her at the hospital. Something already bothered you about her there. You know, it's actually pretty crazy. For weeks I've been saying to myself there's something off about you. Something not so nice. I dug around, mulled it over, bugged all my fellow cops about it, because I was sure you lied to us. I'm just going to let her keep going. If you try and interrupt her, she just sneers more at you. I'm going to be frank with you. She leans over to you. I don't think you're the judge. Nah, I just can't picture it. That's good. She squints, like she's trying to make you out from far away. Like you'd have gone to the extent of hurting yourself. Yeah, between us, it's a bit of a stretch. She stares at you. She's trying to get a rise out of me, I think. Not enough of a stretch for my chief to stop going on and on about you. Seriously, he talks about you all the time. I didn't know better. I think he had a crush on you. She smirks. No, I think he's more interested in your profile. In prison at 17. An icy chill fills your gut. And for murder, too. Eesh. You open your mouth, but nothing comes out. Since you got out, you've kept a low profile, but you're lying about your name and address. I checked. It's normal, you'd say. If they get word of your time served, no loan for your permit, no lease for your car. Meaning, no second chance at life. Her voice becomes softer, almost warm. I personally like guys who want a second chance. No, I like guys who fight for a second chance. Basically, I like guys who are willing to work for me. She leans forward, her shining cat-like eyes narrowing. My chief wants to go to the prosecutor with a first and last name, with evidence. Actually, knowing him, he's not so hot on evidence. So I'll give you info. Victims, suspects, medical reports, some photos that are a bit... She makes a gagging noise. You have to be discreet. Keep it between you and me. Interrogate, ask questions, dig around. I've never done this. She shrugs. Don't worry, you're already keener than half the squad. And so don't forget, I'm not asking you to make an arrest and deliver the killer wrapped up with a bow in front of the station, okay? You're no Batman, you're just here to get me more information. She rummages around in her pockets what seems like forever. Here, take my card. I'll call you in 3-4 days, just to check in. We'll chat. I'll let you know if I have any new info. She takes on a didactic, paternalistic tone, like she was giving you a list of recommendations for the 100th time. It wouldn't be maternalistic. Dunno. Don't get caught, don't get arrested. Also, I wouldn't recommend trying to leave Paris. I know what you look like, and I know who your friends are. You can either be the solution or the problem, my friend. She takes a minute to scan your face, your emotions. If I have to, I'll go check in on you-know-who. Her smile is biting. That reminds me, she know you've done time? You shake your head. She snickers. Oh, my little dirtbag, you cover your tracks well. Say nothing. Just don't. She's trying to get a rise out of me, basically. So I'm not giving her that satisfaction. Okay, I think you've got a handle on our little deal. Any problems? I turn you in. I'll send your picture to all my friends in the media and every arsehole in Paris. A picture with your name on it. Your real name. Anyone close to you will have their places searched. They'll be put under house arrest to spend nights in jail. You have any idea how tense these things are with that fucker's trial underway? It's so corrupt that you could probably do that without any sort of lawsuits being entertained. Not that they often are against the police anyway. You sigh. You know what she's trying to get at. Come to think of it, your last names are almost the same. You can be brothers, actually. I'm nothing like that son of a bitch. She smiles. Let me tell you, that face of yours and your handle, they'll welcome you with open arms. She takes on a serious tone, businesslike. I want to catch this killer personally. I want to drag him to court, ruin his fucking life, with a bang. I can't botch this case, you got me? And neither can you, right? Obviously. Well, great then. We see eye to eye. So you can just say you're my informant, my CI. He ripped open your gut, you saw your own insides, you were in a coma. Yeah, you have plenty of reasons to want to get back at him. She furrows her brow. Yeah, I think you're actually going to do what I tell you to do. You investigate, ask questions, listen to all the rumours, and you come up with a list of suspects. She lays her hand on the door handle and freezes. Oh right, and don't get fired. Without this cab, you're worth nothing to me. You glare at her. Probably not a good idea to insult a cop. For what it's worth, it was a pleasure not to be interrupted every other minute. You can't imagine how much I missed that at work. She puts her hand up and you can hear the words behind it. This conversation never happened. I'll make sure you get more intel tomorrow. I'll find a way. Until then, not a word to anyone, obviously. Not a word. The door opens, squeaks, and slams shut. Well, it didn't really matter. He said it anyway. Fucking bitch. You sit alone for a while, teeth clenched, dry-eyed, ears buzzing. Shit. On the back seat, the cop left a pile of papers. Shit. Key in the ignition. Motor running. Radio on, crackles. Turn it off and start driving. Talking to passengers might unlock new documents and clues for your investigation. You will find them back at your studio after your shift. 6 clues available in your room. Okay, we're back up to basically where we were. Didn't have any other clues, did we? Because we gave the lawyer in charge of the case back his information last time. And we didn't find anyone of relevance this time, did we? Unless that newspaper we took is a clue, but I doubt it. Take a second to enjoy the silence of your studio apartment. Outside, the city is slowly waking up. You can still hear the hum of the taxi buzzing in your ears. You throw the files Bussett gave you on the table. On the wall, you hung up the big corkboard where you used to pin up photos of your nephews. They've been gone since you got out of, well, the plan is simple. Jot down all the pieces of evidence and connect them to the suspects. The guilty party won't necessarily be the one with the most evidence against them, but the one with the most compelling evidence against them. It's like you're building a story about each suspect. Trying to understand their motives. Understand how he or she got into this situation. Steps in the hallway. They stop in front of your door, then move away. You crack your knuckles and get to work. Okay, autopsy report, victim 3. Up you go. Autopsy report, victim 4. Let's load that up. Killer case. What have we got? Picture of crime scene 1. Okay. Picture of crime scene 2. Merite. I don't know what that means. Picture of crime scene 3. Let's have a look at the board. Check the board. Okay, here we got Claudia Campos, medical examiner, escaped from Argentina when she was young. Death, execution. We can't really link that to any of them at the moment. Killer left a message in chalk on first 3 crime scenes. Again, chalk can be used by anyone. Killer knew the victims or researched them. We don't have any idea that these guys knew the victims yet. Weapon, a rare gun used in the 70s. He's a retired cop, joined the police in the 70s, presumably kept his gun, so that's possible to use. Crime scene justice. That's the first message, connected to possible a lawyer. Although from what we talked about, he didn't sound like the type to actually kill. Message on crime scene 3, time is up. Medical examiner, time is up, death, dying, medical examiner. Victims killed with 1 bullet in the neck. Could be anyone. No sign of violence, which means they were caught by surprise. The killer's height is everyone. That's kind of irrelevant. Can I get rid of you? Did say something about doing that, but no sign of violence. Method on crime scene 2. You deserve this. Which is linked to you, a homeless man with an unknown background. It's got something to do with the Richardson Health scandal. A couple of arrests for breaking and entering. And again, the Richardson Health scandal seems to be built into it. I wish we could have a look at our documents. Is there a way to like check what we've got? That'd be handy. Because, like, I want to have a look at those crime scene photos, it would be nice. But I guess it's just already pulling the information from it for us. Because I don't know who the victims are. Other than me, I guess. Oh, well. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You open the sofa bed and lie down. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed. Your body aches and you're in pain. You can tell you need to get more sleep. But this isn't going to help, is it? You glance at your investigation board. It looks awfully empty. Tomorrow you'll have a chance to fill it up more. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. A second later, you're asleep. You open one eye. Fragments of a dream are still lingering. You were doing a circus act. Maybe mime? You're not so sure now. You get up quickly to forget all that. A few minutes later, you're outside of your studio. Night 2. Okay. See if we got any important peoples. Right, we need to refuel. Probably a good idea to do that. Oh, it's this guy. Should we get fuel after we go for this guy? Seems sensible in case he disappears. We've still got 3/4 of a tank, so fuel isn't like a crushingly important thing. We did 2 jobs each at the end of Paris and only burned through 1/4 of a tank, so don't we have to like give our wages to the taxi company, or do we just keep them? Piero Bataz, too drunk to drive. You pull up in front of the address the central office gave you. A crepe joint, quite a popular one by the looks of the line spinning out the door and onto the sidewalk. Be drunk, we might be able to extract a bit of information from uninhibited. You sit for a moment. The door opens and a group of 30-somethings come into view. All the men and women are dressed alike. Sporty, running shoes, jeans, small shoulder bags. The officers from the Paris Anti-Crime Squad in plain clothes. You sigh. They're brutish types. Ones who like to race, tackle, clobber. Ones who ruined the afternoons you spent wandering around Paris in your teens. After a bit, one of them pulls away from the group and comes over to your taxi. He opens the door and collapses onto the back seat. He is stocky and of Asian descent. You can see his muscles through his thick winter clothes. He smells like crepes and hard cider. Good man. And his face is bright red. Hey, what's up? I live near Turn. He chuckles as one of his colleagues rushes over to the taxi and pulls an imaginary gun from his coat. He points to his badge and screams at you with a big smile on his face. What a douchebag. The other cop eventually backs off and you drive away. Sorry, man. We're having a going away party for a colleague and celebrating Christmas too. No worries, mate. The passenger smiles, then he puts his fingers back on his temples. I drank too much shit. I'm a lightweight and they knew it. I think they're trying to loosen my tongue. His behaviour changes abruptly, like he's just seen a ghost. One question. Yeah? Do taxi drivers some sort of policy or ethics code? Yes, of course. He's asking if we have a confidentiality thing. He smiles. Perfect. Because I don't know who to talk about this, and I don't know, you look like a nice guy. He takes his head in his hand. Fucking shit. I've been lying to my colleagues for years. I joined this squad 8 years ago, and they all think I'm in a relationship with a woman who lives in Strasbourg. And we're gonna get married. It makes a strange yelping noise, like an air bubble bursting on the surface of a river. As soon as they get too close to Strasbourg, I just start making up stories. We've almost broken up 10 times. Like, I convinced him we were trying to have a kid, but it hasn't worked yet. He sighs. Fuck, saying it out loud is just the worst. His eyes are getting shiny. I'm gay. A deep breath. Getting married in a few weeks to my boyfriend. Another breath. Longer. Deeper. I don't want to work those. Not a soul. Next sentences come out in a rush. He holds his breath the whole time. I like men. I've always liked men. When I work in a police station and listen to their comments, to their jokes all day long. It's the same with any hyper-masculine job role, isn't it? When we catch a guy who's never done time before, we tell him briefly what you should expect. We talk about the violence, about the... Finally he breathes in again. I say we because I'm in on it. Because I can say fag any time of day without any prompting. The word rolls off my tongue completely naturally. Fag. He finally looks you in the eye. They're not mean. Who? He shakes his head. My colleagues aren't mean people. They're cops, not mean, just doing the job. He manages to flash a tiny crooked smile. You know what I really like? He pauses. I like to have them over for dinner. Everybody on the squad. They can see my place. They can play a board game. Something normal, you know. And they can meet James. He's your partner? He's your husband-to-be? Takes a moment to think about your question. Yeah, soon. He smiles at last. Genuine smile. Can you believe it? We're getting married in 2 weeks. After living together for 9 years, he's been willing to live in a lie. He understands. It's wild, but... Thanks for jingling in an inappropriate moment, Samba. It's wild, but yes. He knows I love my job, and he couldn't possibly do anything else. He loves me enough to let me keep lying. He slowly shakes his head. But I can't go on like this. I have to... He freezes. Shit, my head is spinning. I don't feel so good. Why am I telling you all this? Why? He grabs onto the seat in front of him. Hey, can you pull over? You stop immediately. Yep. He opens the door and leans the top half of his body out. He throws up. You open your window to air out the greasy smell of fried crepes and the sour scent of cider. A moment later, the cop sits back up. Okay, I'm all set. I got it all out. Start driving again. Oh, I'm sorry, really. It's alright. I hate all that. These sausage parties. Cheap alcohol. The lies. You nod while your passenger moans and quietly says, I'm sorry. Don't worry. He pauses to catch his breath. Shit, I haven't barfed like that since last Easter. They made me drink this South African liquor, something with cream and cocoa. Oh yeah, that's a guaranteed bar for drink right there. Nasty. I can still picture it. I was doing shots while they shouted my name. Karate Kid, Karate Kid. Karate Kid. This is getting super interesting. We're going to pause it here. I'm loath to pause in the middle of dialogue, but this game is all dialogue, so we'll learn why he was called Karate Kid next episode. Damn, it feels like it's only been 5 minutes since I last said that. This game is super absorbing. Either way, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll be back with more Night Call next week. Goodbye.